So as I said, the first thing that you need to do before you start to use legal AI is to get a free account with OpenRouter. Now, the link of that is provided. It's openrouter.ai. Let me explain to you what it really does. Now, when we talk about AI models, most of us have heard about Claude and ChatGPT. Well, actually, the companies are Anthropic and OpenAI, and they have multiple models that they have created. So, for example, when you look at ChatGPT, they've got Terra, Luna, Sol, and they keep coming out with new models. You look at Anthropic, and they've got Opus, Sonnet, Fable, Haiku, and they also keep introducing new ones with numbers. Now, if you are a customer or a user of, say, ChatGPT, you can only use their models. If you are a customer of Anthropic, you can obviously use only their models. But when you get an API key from a provider like OpenRouter, you can choose almost 300-400 models and then decide what you want to do. Now, before I show you how to use it, once you log into OpenRouter, you will see an interface something like this. What you need to do is click on New Key, and then you can give any name to this key that you're creating. Ignore the rest and just say create. What it's going to do is it's going to create a key for you. All you need to do is copy that and paste it into the next step, which I'm going to show you. You don't have to deposit money. But later, once you feel that, okay, I've tried the free versions and now I want to try paid models, then you need to click on this credits and you can add balance here. So you can use your card, you can use crypto, they accept all kinds of payment, and then you can put in a few dollars. Now, usually if you're using a paid subscription of ChatGPT or Claude, you're already paying about $20 a month. So what I would recommend is you could put some of that money here. If you put in $10, you'll be able to actually use a lot of AI, which I'm going to show you. Now, what Blueprint is, it's an open source project that I've created to make it really, really simple for anybody to start using legal AI. By the way, if there are any questions, please put them in the chat. And I hope I'm not going too fast. You can also put that here. I'll slow down. Now, the first thing that you do is you enter your OpenRouter key, which is what I already showed you. And then once you put the key, you can click on this, check credits or usage. Now, if it shows you invalid, which means obviously you've not put in your key. But the moment you put in a real key here, it will show you your balance. So for example, here, so it says check credits, you click on that and it shows, okay, my balance is $0.2. Small amounts are also enough. After that, you are going to select the models. And I would say this is the single most important thing. Now, like I told you, different AI companies are there. They all have their own models and the pricing differs a lot. Now, let's take an example. When we look at Anthropic and we look at, say, Fable, which is one of their latest models, the price is for every input, that means the data you're sending, it's $10 per million tokens. And every output, when the AI gives you a response, it's $50 per million. Now, to put it in perspective, if you look at others, so for example, here you can see Google Gemini is 150 versus $9, whereas Fable was $50. So different companies, different models have very, very different rates. So if you look at Claude 3 or you look at Claude Sonnet, so it's $15. You can choose models based on how good they are. You can choose it based on how expensive they are. That's totally your call. So you will be able to see all the 300 plus models which are there. And then you will be able to very easily select which one you want to use here. Now, one interesting thing about this platform is it is dividing the work into 4 steps. I don't know if you guys have heard about the concept of AI agents. Have you heard about that? Give me a yes or no if you know what an AI agent is. And for someone who's asking the question about API key, I just explained it. Maybe you came a little late. You can watch the recording, you will understand that. Have you guys heard about API keys? Do you know what it is? Sorry, not API keys. Uh, what we were talking about is agents. So what an AI agent is, it's beyond just a normal chatbot. An AI agent can be given work to do and it will make sure that that entire work is actually completed. It's a much better version of, let's say, a simple chatbot. I don't know if you have noticed this, but when you just use a normal chat GPT or Claude, many times it will not answer all your questions. It may give you partial replies and stop. Well, agents are, you could say, specialized versions of AI. They still run with the same API, but they get the work done. That is why we work in an agentic kind of a format when it comes to legal AI, because we cannot risk something going wrong. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Now, when we see how this works, it is dividing the work into 4 parts. So first is an intake agent. It understands the request, classifies the task, identifies missing context, and plans the output structure. Try to understand what this means. It's not immediately running and doing all your work. No, it is understanding what you want to do, classifying that task into what kind of legal work is this, even finding out is there something missing. If something is missing, it could actually just stop and tell you this is missing, provided for to continue. And then it only plans what will happen next. Then comes the second stage where you do document analysis. So now, from the documents that you have uploaded, if at all, it's not always mandatory, it is going to extract the relevant facts, clauses, risks, and warnings from the uploaded documents without inventing, which is the most important part, without inventing content. So you remember we spoke in the first session about hallucination. We say that AI makes up things. This agent will ensure that the AI doesn't make up anything. That's the job of agent number two. Then comes agent number three, the work product. So this is the one that is actually going to create whatever you wanted. So you wanted some draft created, something created. It will create, review, summary, memo, whatever you wanted. Then comes the fourth guy who does the quality assurance. So he is going to check whether there are hallucinations, unsupported claims, weak structure, and any legal risk flags. It is going to do this entire job. So now what are we doing? We are using 4 different AI agents to do 4 different things so that the output we get is the best possible. Now you can choose which AI you want to use for what. So suppose I personally find Claude Sonnet, for example, that's one of the models. I find that is a very good one second, let me find that. Okay. So in Anthropic, I feel that Claude Sonnet is really good for writing. So I could select that. But I feel for the intake model, maybe something like, let me give you an example. OpenAI's latest models are better. And for document analysis, suppose I feel Gemini is better. I could choose that. And then finally, for the review, I can choose, let's say, I mean, whatever model I feel like using. But for now, let's just take an example of Nemotron. So now what I have done is I have selected 4 different AIs for myself. Now this becomes much more powerful than using only ChatGPT or Claude, because in that you are stuck with only their model. But here you can choose different AI from more than 300-400 options. Is this part clear? Any questions? I hope you didn't find it too difficult or I wasn't going too fast. Then we can upload the documents here. So I could say, okay, you know what? I want to use a particular agreement. So I will choose that and say open. So now it has uploaded that agreement and I'm going to ask questions based on that agreement, right? You are correct. One expert. How do we select? Okay, I didn't really understand the question. Could you maybe clarify that? Now that I've created this, I need to ask questions. So what I've done to make it simple for all of you is I've created a sample contract, sample prompts what to ask, and sample answers what to expect. And then you can measure whether it's good or bad. Can we get a sheet for which AI model is best? Yes, absolutely. I run a few benchmarking systems. That is part of the course that you're doing. So in fact, when you log in, you'll be able to see here, there's something called the legal AI benchmarking text and the one word text. So when you go here, it'll tell you which models are actually good for the task that you're trying to do. Now, what kind of questions should we ask? Now, the questions are also very, very important. So I'll give you an example. This is the long contract that we have just uploaded. It's fairly long. And deliberately, I have put some unfair clauses in it to see whether the AI catches it properly or not. Now, what do we ask it? So for example, the first thing that we could do is, now this is usually done whenever you want to analyze any contract. We do what is called a pre-signature risk review. So we are now going to give a very detailed one, that you are acting as an external counsel for the customer, which is Meridian Retail. So that's in the case study. We are then explaining a little bit about what we want done. And now we are saying produce a pre-signature risk review that does these 6 things, right? So it identifies the most important legal and commercial risks, cites the specific clauses and schedule numbers for each. This is critical, so it doesn't invent anything. Whenever we tell the AI to tell us a clause number, we know now it cannot really hallucinate because it has to give us that number. Then check the main agreement against the schedule and flag any internal inconsistencies or conflicts. Like this, we are giving it 6 things to do. And we are saying start with a 1 paragraph executive summary of the whole thing. This is the kind of prompts that you should always be running. Very comprehensive prompts. Never go to an AI by saying, review this contract or what is the problem in this contract. Never do that, because that will not be clear to the AI and it will give you a very substandard, low quality kind of an answer. The more detailed your prompt is, the better is the kind of answer that you can expect. Now, after you run this prompt and it gives you an answer, you have to continue. You need more. So the second prompt could be, turn your review into a 1-page briefing for our general counsel. Again, in that, we have to specify. For example, no legal jargon that the CFO wouldn't follow. Now, when you're reviewing a contract, obviously multiple people are going to be interested in that contract. Some of them are non-law. So you have to specify, okay, now give me a simpler version. Then you can also say a negotiation email to be completed. So draft an email to Cloudflow's councils opening negotiations. Firm but commercially constructive. So now we are saying what kind of points should we negotiate on? And now you're saying keep it under 600 words, for example. Next step, we could say make a clause by clause negotiation playbook for us. Finally, we could say judgment stress test. This is the way in which we continue to prompt to get better and better answers. And then I've also created the model answers. Ideally, whatever AI you're using should give answers which match this level or maybe even better than this level. So here there's a very detailed what kind of answers to expect. Now that you have understood all this, this is what you would have done. So we would have uploaded this here. We would have put in our first prompt here. Then we would click on run. So then it'll show you step 1, step 2, step 3. Finally, when it's finished, it would give you a very comprehensive reply like this. Pre-signature risk review. So we scroll down and everything is ready for us. Then we can ask follow-up questions and it'll keep showing us those updated answers. Now, it is not necessary that you have to always upload a document. So I've also given you a simple example where without uploading also we can ask very simple questions. So here, unfortunately, in my screenshot, the question seems to have been cut off. But I asked about a case where, is there any case law about contract with a minor being void ab initio? Which is that? And give me information about that. So then it identifies and gives us detail. Now, this is very important to understand. We did not give the AI any document. So when we ask a question without a document, we are testing the general intelligence of that AI. That what does that AI know on its own? Sorry, without us giving it any information. And I used only the free models. So when you look at all the different models that are there in OpenRouter, you will come across a lot of free ones. Even the free ones were able to answer correctly a question about the Indian Contract Act and not from the law, but from case laws around it. So that kind of shows you how powerful AI models are becoming and even how powerful a free model is. And when it is free, it is absolutely zero. There is no cost which is in that. So that is something very interesting. And we can use free, but it depends on what you're trying to do. So if you're getting paid for a opinion, I would say don't use free, use the better agents. But if you're just trying it out, you could start with the absolutely free models and even they give you good results. Let me take an example for some of the questions. You are an expert. How do we select the right agent? So like I said, for selecting the right agent, we are going to use benchmarking, which is something there as part of the course syllabus. I'm going to do that in the next session. How common memory required would it be if we choose 4 different models? Okay, I did not understand this question. Maybe you could make it a little clearer what you're trying to say in that. So now as part of your homework, I would say once you're done with this, what you're going to do is log into your Learn platform. You're going to click here and get your free key. Then you are going to try out this Blueprint Mini. So when you click on it, it's just going to open up on your screen. Here you're going to enter your API key from OpenRouter. Then you can select all the free models if you want directly. Just take only the free ones. For all 4, you can do that. And then put in some questions. One is you use the options that I have given you. So those options, you will be able to identify them. And you can put questions. You can upload anything of your own choice. If you want to use the samples I've created, just click here. Sample contract, sample prompts. Run it one by one, compare with sample answers. And do this for different AI models. Then you will realize what is the best. So now, obviously, most of you are lawyers and you're practicing in different areas. So what I would recommend is take some documents from what you're actually working on, put them here and experiment with different AI models. What works well for a contract review may not work that well for, let's say, an intellectual property related work that you're doing. Different kinds of legal work require different kinds of models. It's only this experimentation that you do. When you do that experimentation, you will know which model works best for you. But remember that this keeps changing every few weeks. So once in a while, you may notice that the answer quality is going down. Maybe you need to then improve or change the model that you are using. Is it clear? Any questions? Again, I hope I wasn't too fast. Do we have AI working while keeping confidential? Okay. So now let's try to understand. Do you ever upload documents to Google Drive? Do you ever send documents through Gmail? Do you send it through WhatsApp? In all those cases, you are actually sending confidential client information to a third party. And I would say in many ways, AI is not very different. Of course, Google also takes a license from you to go through your document for various purposes. If you ever try to read the terms and conditions of Gmail, Google Drive, WhatsApp, you will understand that they actually get access to all your data also. What they do with it, well, we don't really know for sure. Similarly, AI is also going to do that for you. So I would say it's not any different. But if you're that worried, change the names or don't add, put in the names, anonymize the document, right? So maybe remove the client names, change a few of the things, and then send the data up. It shouldn't really make a difference. That's for the discussion of sovereignty. What about end-to-end encryption like WhatsApp or Legora? Now, see, when we talk about end-to-end, I will be very honest with you. There are a lot of misconceptions about what end-to-end means. Now, if you look at my screen on top, can you see this connection is secure? Do you see that word which is there? Give me a yes if you can see this. Right. So what is this showing us when we say end-to-end or connection is secure? What we're basically saying is that we are using SSL technology or HTTPS, which means whatever data leaves my computer and goes to, for example, in this case, I've opened this up on ruhasnakpal.com. Whatever is happening between my laptop and this website is encrypted. So by default, everything is encrypted end to end. Today, in almost every website in the world, you already have HTTPS. In fact, if a website doesn't have it, it will pop up. Chrome will give you a warning saying this website is not secure. Don't exchange information. So end to end is there. But the problem is when you upload this information, ultimately, where is it going? It's not coming to me, it's going to the AI. Now, the AI obviously needs to read that information and then give you a response. They can use that information to train their AI to make it better. Plus, they may store it in whatever fashion they feel like. That is the part which a lot of people are obviously worried about. So, for that, like I said, one option is you anonymize it. You remove the client details and send the document. Well, if you feel it is very, very secure and you don't want to share any information, it's a very unique kind of a document, then you can run the AI model on your machine. You don't try this with a normal laptop, it won't work. You need a very powerful machine, and in that you will have to download open models which are available. Everything is not. So for example, you won't be able to get ChatGPT's latest model on it or Claude. You will be able to get some of the open models. So for example, Gemma, Olama, these are some examples. You have to download those, run it on your powerful machine. Now whatever documents you send are not leaving your computer. Nobody else in the world can see it. In fact, you can even shut off your internet connection while doing this. Then you have 100% confidentiality. But then remember, the results are going to be not so good. I mean, I've tried some of those models, and from a legal AI point of view, the results are very, very bad. So maybe out of 100, it'll be like a 30-40% thing, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of using legal AI. So I hope that answers your question. Any other questions? Okay. So perfect. Next step, I'll put it on the group also. You will log into your Learn platform. You will look at the Blueprint Mini, download it, enter your free OpenRouter key there, and then put whatever questions you want. You use the samples that I've given you, and then you can start to experiment with that. And it'll kind of give you a good idea about how to do it. Now, Windows and Linux, which is better for running local models? That's a very good question. Actually, you could use any of them, but I would say Linux would probably be the best. Yeah, Keshav also agrees. So Keshav's a friend of mine who's actually bought a very expensive hardware for this for running AI. But even he felt that despite that hardware, it's very difficult to run proper AI models on that. Keshav, if you agree with me, you can answer that question. Yeah. So Linux would probably be the best. But just remember, when you run these local models, the quality is not going to be very high. So that's kind of a, you know, offset that you have to be ready for. During the next session, or rather, I'll share some links with you about AI benchmarking. You can go through them. You'll understand how benchmarking is done. So I've developed a system for that. And in the next session, I'll probably walk you through how that works also. And then finally, we will have one more live session where I'm going to show you a more comprehensive open legal AI product, which has lots and lots of options, which have specific options for litigation practice, cross examinations. That's a detailed one. That'll be the final step in our session. As AI becomes more common, will lawyers using AI to fight cases have an advantage in the future? Absolutely no doubt about it. In fact, very recently the UK department, I think it is their equivalent of what we have Bar Council in India, they have actually made a statement that if a lawyer doesn't use AI, he's actually doing a disservice to the client and he can be removed from the roles of a lawyer. I found it a little weird, but that's what they've actually said. So they're kind of saying if you don't use AI, you're doing a disservice to your client. Just like if you say, no, no, I will not use online case laws, I will look at physical books. And then you end up billing your client for all the time that you went looking through books. That's actually not considered right anymore. So very soon, even it'll be considered if you don't use AI for your client and you're billing them for work without having used any AI, that actually becomes negative. So we don't really have a choice as lawyers. We have to start using it. Do you have a tie-up with BCI on National Advocate Academy? No, I don't. I mean, I'll look up about this, but maybe if you can connect with them, but I don't know about this. Uh, when we have multi-turn conversation, we would require common memory layer. How do you implement? Okay, so what happens is in this AI Blueprint Mini that I just showed you, every time you ask a follow-up question, again, it goes through those 4 different AI agents again. So we ask a question, it reads our contract, reads our question, uses 4 agents, gives an answer. Now you ask a follow-up question, again, it is going to read the whole data, read your new question, again use the 4 agent work to give you that answer. Now, definitely it increases the cost a little bit, but I'll be very honest with you. Can you guess how much it actually takes to review a contract like this using 4 different AIs? Let's say I use a Chinese AI like DeepSeek. 4 different AIs I'm using. Can you take a wild guess what is the cost? Of course, when you do it, you'll be able to see the cost, but can you guess how much it would be? Anyone? Think about it while I answer the next question. When you say that the AI models can give different reply after a week sometime, in this case, will it be difficult to determine? Yeah, that's a good question. And yes, somebody's given an answer of 4 rupees. Yeah, it's 2 rupees, right? And if you use the free ones, it is absolutely zero. So even when we use multi-agents and we ask the question many times, I don't think it'll go more than 10 or 20 rupees. Now, come on, as a lawyer, you're charging much more than 20 rupees for a contract draft. So don't worry so much about the cost. Use the good models. Now, about this weekly thing, that is why what I've started to do is I run my benchmarking on a weekly basis. So if I have reviewed, say, ChatGPT 1 month ago, I wouldn't consider that today. So every week I usually do a new run. So I'm planning to do that every Saturday from now on. So every Sunday I can give you the latest reports. And then those are the models that you can comfortably use. And sometimes very strange things happen when we check. Like during one of my recent checkings, one of the top ChatGPT models actually failed in the test because it hallucinated and created a fake clause. But a free model did not do that hallucination. So I was very surprised, but I found a free model doing better. And can you take a wild guess which, as of today, according to me, which is the best AI to use for legal? Take a wild guess. Anyone could guess what it would be? Many people find it very hard to believe when I give them the answer, but it's actually Grok. Yeah, Keshav, you know that. So no, not Gemini, not DeepSeek, Grok, which is the Twitter AI, which usually we don't even consider for legal work. But one of the latest Grok models actually performed the best at a very cheap price. So that was quite amazing. So every week, new surprises like this keep coming. As of right now, Grok rules, but then maybe next week something else will be even better. So that's the reason we have to keep doing benchmarking on a very regular basis. So yes, a lot of you have given different examples, but no, it turned out to be Grok in that case. So anyway, that's benchmarking, and that is something that we have to keep doing. Any other questions? Uh, Kimi may soon top that list. Sure. So when I try it this week, I've been hearing good things about Kimi. So let me see. I'm also constantly working on improving the benchmarking system. Now, in fact, here, if some of you would like to volunteer. So because what happens is whenever we ask an AI questions, we need human beings to check the question and how good the answer is. So if you guys want to volunteer, please directly message me on WhatsApp, and then I'll involve you in the benchmarking system. I'll teach you how to do it, and then you will be able to help by reading the answers and saying how good or bad they are, so that we do the human question checking on that. What is the difference between grok and grok? Okay, so there is grok and then there is grok. So k is the one by Twitter, it's the paid one, and q is the free one. But in my opinion, the k one, the paid one, is much better. Kimi is free or not? No, I don't think it is free. It's very reasonable, but it's not free. So, free models, with all due respect to them, do have their own limit. One problem with free is it will not give you too many answers before it shuts down. So what happens is, for example, OpenRouter puts a throttle on it. If you ask too many questions, it can slow you down or block you for some time. In paid models, because they're getting paid for it, they will not stop you. You can ask hundreds of questions. In free models, the output is kind of restricted. But try it for practice, just if you're new to it. For reviewing contracts, which is the best? So I would say as of today, Grok is the best for that. As of today, the latest model of Grok is the best. Maybe the answer will be very different next week. Any other questions? How much to pay for Grok? So again, when you're looking at something like Grok, let me quickly share my screen and let me tell you how the pricing goes, right? So here, when we are choosing, let's say, okay, so you can see Grok here. So I think Grok 4.5 is the one that I used. So it's $2 for 1 million tokens input and $6 for output. See, you don't have to pay monthly here. Many of you may be used to that typical chat GPT way of doing things where you pay $20 a month. It's not like that here. You are actually paying every time that you use it. So it actually becomes much cheaper. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Whoever likes to volunteer, you could just WhatsApp me. So I'll have your number and then I'll send you some of the questions. Okay. Models are probabilistic. How can we make determinate solution every time? Yeah, you're quite right on that. But then that is a problem with AI as of today. It is kind of, AI doesn't know the answers. It doesn't understand law at all. What is AI doing? AI is simply based on billions of parameters that it has somewhere. It is predicting how a particular sentence should be completed. But then that's the tech part. Let's look at the actual answers. The actual answers are phenomenal. And AI is getting better and better. So while there is no guarantee that if you run the same AI with the same question twice in a row, you may get different answers. But the differences are usually very slight. That's the reason we use a multi-AI agentic kind of approach, so that even if one AI messes up, there are three others involved to kind of look into things. The more critical the work you're doing, the more agents you could throw at it and try to get better answers. That's the best I can say. You're right on that. It is a probability-based game, but by and large, the answers are really good. Uh, I have tried Grok, but I was not satisfied with the answers. It's my well, it could be which model of Grok you use. So if you use Grok earlier, it was an older version that may not have been so good. That's one problem that you may face. Secondly, it could be your prompt. So if you use a prompt like review my contract, you're never going to get good results, because now you're leaving it to the AI to guess what review means and from which point of view. In fact, there are two parties to the contract. Which party are you representing? So you have to tell it that think from my point of view and give me points, because for each party there could be good and bad points in the same contract. So you haven't even told the AI which party you are representing. So your prompt has to be very well done. So I gave you an example. You can download the prompts, see how they work, and then only use those kind of prompts. Last Grok V3 was okay type, but 4.5 is good. Sure, I agree with you. 4.5, which is I think the latest version, is really good. But yes, the 4.3 earlier version wasn't as good. So maybe that's one of the reasons. Anything else? So in the next live session, we'll have two more lives. In the next live session, I'm going to talk to you about benchmarking, how we do that, different ways. And then in the final session, I'm going to talk to you about AI Blueprint Max, which is a much more much larger system. Again, all my systems are open source, so you can go through all the coding. There is zero cost involved in using them. After we finish that, I'll put up the exam, and then you can take the exam and finish the course. Any other questions? Okay, so great. It was nice speaking to all of you, and see you soon. Bye-bye.